Welcome everybody to Rad Pod and Chill. I just had to do a pit maneuver and I did not ruin my nails, so I am super, super ecstatic right now. I am Heidi Sigmund Kuda, and I'm here with Jim Stewartson and High Fidelity. It's 4:20, so they're stoned. I am not, but that's okay. I'm still in a very festive mood.
You're the one who said pit maneuver about your fucking nails. So.
I did. I had to do something so quick. I had to do something. I had to do something so quick.
You're an honorary stoner for today.
Oh my God! I smoked so much weed back.
Oh no, I know you. I know. I'm just
no.
saying.
I will.
It's a good day. You've got a day pass without breaking any rules.
No, some people can do their thing, and some people shouldn't do the thing. And
no.
Either way's okay.
I'm saying she's honorary stoner.
Yes, I get to.
Oh.
You're
not paying attention. HiFi.
Oh, okay. So what you need to do is act really stupid and make bad jokes, because that's like.
Well, that's what I do every time, so it's super easy.
Yeah.
So I will tell you some stoner stories though, because I was like sober, and then I was at the Warp Tour, and then I ran into my friend Brian from the Bouncing Souls in the men's room, and I got high.
What were you doing in the men's room, Heidi?
Oh, I never used the ladies' room because I never wanted to have lines or deal with drama, and the men's rooms were always empty. But Brian Keeneland happened to be in the men's room at that time, and we knew each other from around the way, from old clubs back in the day, and no regrets. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
fair enough.
No regrets.
No regrets. No regrets. But my friends know 20 years without alcohol, and I just celebrated 5+ years without weed. I like being a sober woman in this fight because, for example, Monday, I had a really, 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 really bad day. And thanks to HiFi, I got through it. But that day was so bad that it scared me, and a drink would not have made it better. Let's put it that way. But I don't like little boys going to the wrong homes and getting shot, because, and I knew immediately that the guy who had shot him had been radicalized by all the shit we're warning people about. So I was down so low that day, you know what I'm saying? And thanks to this community, and thanks to the fact that HiFi, like at 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, sent me a DOJ indictment that the Americans that I had investigated already the year before for Byline Times, were arrested or indicted for, working for the Russians to throw our elections and be traitors and all that fucked up shit. So whenever I'm in action, whenever I'm doing the work, I feel better. And so I had a very good day after a very bad day, and I love you guys. That's what's up.
Ooh, somebody got edibles in the audience. Good for you.
What?
Yeah.
I always like old school. I always prefer.
Hey, I don't know if everybody in the audience saw it. I saw it. Well, I saw the aftermath, but I would like to just, Elon Musk is a fucking problem, right?
Word.
But he and SpaceX celebrated 420 in the most 420 blaze it, man. That's all I can say. 420 blaze it.
Are you referring to the
he set the world's biggest joint on fire and then spun it into the fucking ocean?
And then here's the best part. He made it in the middle of a migratory bird sanctuary. So when that thing blew up, it just
don't tell me that.
Dumped
don't
toxic. Who the fuck knows what?
Don't tell me that. I'm a birder.
Sorry.
Want me to get my binoculars and prove it? Oh my God.
They didn't have to build it there, but they did.
Do you want to know about the pair of red whiskered bulbuls that have been outside my window for days now? Probably not, but it's pretty exciting. I literally stand there at my window with binoculars.
I think we just learned about it.
They're so beautiful. Oh my God, they're such beautiful birds. Holy shit. So I'm so happy to see you guys. Jim, I can't tell you enough how much the community building that we're doing has boosted my spirits. Like, and not to mention what's really cool is that we're also encouraging people to sort of get in touch with their inner investigative nerd. So we are like, the tentacles of what we're doing are spreading out, and some of our allies are becoming quite the OSINT investigative researchers. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, I mean, for me, that's the whole goal, right? Is not to it's not cheerleading. It's not any of that. It's about giving people the tools and the information they need to share it with other people, because we're dealing with it's a viral threat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need inoculation, and then we need treatment for people who are sick with it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and so what I try and do is just explain the same fucking problem in as many different ways as I can,
Right.
in as many different mediums as I can. I did a haiku the other day, and then with the Mike Flynn, I so whatever it takes to get people to internalize it and do something about it. I
Yeah,
really think.
I can't believe. I'm sorry. I can't believe he's been allowed to blatantly in the open do what he is doing.
Which Flynn?
Mike Flynn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that. But before we get to the meat of the show or the meatheads of the show, I just want to show you what a friend of mine from Canada sent today. One of my supporters at Betty Dangerous sent me this beautiful freaking stone. Oh my God, it's so gorgeous. So now it's going to sit right on Connor's laptop.
There's some light coming up from under it. It looked like the orb scene from Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia.
So yes, the orb. Why did you have to bring up him? Although
I thought it was a Palantir.
Everything. It was like it's trippy.
Although today I dropped my most important story ever, and I say that pretty much every week because I've been working my ass off. But I applied metrics to Donald Jessica Trump, and it turns out that his doom is rather inevitable. And I'm really proud of the story because I looked at 2018, 2020, 2022, all the losses, all the Democratic gains, easy races that he lost for the Republicans. And I quote some Republican operatives in there who said they won't give Donald Trump a fucking dime. And I cite the 25% underwater poll. And so I know the media is a little addicted to him because they profited so much off of him. But this story right here is dope. And anybody who's a part of my Betty Dangerous Substack, since this is paywalled at Byline Supplement, they can reach out to me, and I have the approval of the Byline team to go ahead and send them the story, because it's just like, what? Oh my God. And I really do think, and I went way back to like what Michelle Wolf said and what Les Moonves said, and I took a look at just how the media does not want to give up on what was their cash cow, but he's done. And of course, Jim, you've been saying this for 2 years, but I just applied some metrics is all. So there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Let me just say something real fast here, because I don't have a huge amount of trust in people or institutions or anything really.
Yeah.
But I do trust numbers, and I do trust facts, and I do trust data. And Heidi's put together some good data. So
Yeah, well, that was kind of the whole point, but I also used my words, and I just want to say some of it was funny, a little bit sassy. Um, Despite his staggering number of legal entanglements and the fact that his speeches embody the fascist playbook chapter and verse, the media continued to prop up the metaphorical corpse like a marathon viewing of Weekend at Bernie's, an American black comedy where a deceased mobster is the main star. I don't know. It's been 7 years, so I just, yeah, had to get some shit out.
He's fun to rag on.
Yeah. Yeah, but it really is. It's the numbers, it's the polls, it's the raising the 250 million dollars versus the 12 million, and also calling for violence in New York and having more reporters and supporters show up. And of course, I had to include Michael Rappaport's greeting, where he made pig noises when they spotted him. That went viral because that just brings me a lot of joy. Now they could cheat, they could do all kinds of creepy shit. It's still a story far from over, but numbers wise,
Look, he has a lot more power than his fundraising. There's obviously a shitload of compromise, right?
yes,
Trump is so fucking desperate that he did round two of selling uh, worthless
I saw
gifts
that.
for 99 fucking dollars. Of people that don't look anything like him in hilarious outfits. For 47, because he thinks he's going to be 47th president, for $4,700 worthless gifts of him looking like a cartoon doing dumb shit, you can spend your own money to get a plane ticket to fucking Florida and have a shitty dinner in his fucking beach motel. If you spend if you buy 100 of his of his worthless gifts, you get something that I totally didn't understand, and it doesn't matter at all because it's only fucking money launderers that are sending money to him through crypto. Fuck.
But
Why is this flabby Hitler fucking free? Why?
so
What is wrong with it? It's 50 fucking years, and all we have been able to do after 50 fucking years is get him is ring him up for Stormy. I'm sorry, but I'm just
so
absolutely
far,
tired. So far, I know. Let the process roll. Blah blah. I am not fucking interested anymore in any of that shit. These people are. Look, I have been in the depths of some very hairy shit
Very
recently, and
ugly shit.
I'm not in a particularly you know like sassy mood. I just want some motherfuckers in prison, and I'm not gonna shut up until people start, paying some fucking attention.
well,
There's one, hold on. There's one motherfucker, Mike Flynn, that I've been focusing on for a long fucking time. And there's a reason for it. And there's also a reason that nobody else does. Because it sucks. It sucks going after Mike Flynn. Guess
yeah.
why? Because he's a professional rat fucker. He's a professional psyops guy. And he will send everybody he fucking can at you. I am here to tell you, I know this for a fact. And fuck you, Mike Flynn. I am still here, bitch, and I'm not going to stop until you are in prison. I promise you that. And now I am done with my fucking TED Talk about Mike Flynn, and yeah, I'm kind of high, and shut up.
And you know what? And your brother, your misogynistic brother, uh,
What?
uh
I don't
no,
have any
Which
brother.
one, Charles or Joe?
not your misogynistic brother, but his
Hmm.
misogynistic brother.
Oh, well,
So,
yeah. No, hold
so
on. Let me know that real quick. Oh, you want to,
no, all I wanted to say is that I had watched a French film recently, Death of a Corrupt Man, and it opens with the guy in Paris who has the safe full of compromat on everybody, right? There's the guy. He's got everything. He's got a book. It's all the corrupt deals all the politicians did. It's all the corrupt deals that law enforcement did. It's everything. And of course, it's a a great George Lautner film, and lots of chases ensue. But I realized that's this story. That's the story. It's like, why would Lindsey Graham shed crocodile tears over Trump while he dyed his hair to look like him and had the tan, right? Like, why do all the worst people in the world still say nice things about somebody who tried to overthrow our government? Well, I do think that, water seeks its own level, number one. They all keep each other's dirty secrets, number two. But Jim, to your point, Mike Flynn has been sending his digital soldiers at you for years. They splosh over onto me thanks to his flunky brother. And it's very obvious that they all take their various assignments. And all it is a testament to the excellent work that this team does. And I feel like more people are starting to clue into that fact. So this is not a waste of time, is what I'm saying.
I just need to point out that they pretty much leave me alone now because they're kind of scared of me.
You're scary, HiFi.
Well, they just we've seen all of it. It's so funny, like these little sort of apprentice trolls and ops that come in and they think they're going to pull a fast one. It's like, oh, come on, please move along, children. But speaking of children and the stupid little trolls, very briefly,
okay,
a word to Brian Gamble.
Yeah.
Oh, shall we? Let's.
Do you have the dual photo? Is there any way? If you look on my Twitter feed, you can find the dual photo so people can understand who we're talking about.
Yes.
Brian Gamble is a digital soldier who's been working for Mike Flynn for a very long time. He was in the First Amendment Praetorians. And he was breaching the Capitol, at the front line of the Capitol with Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and everybody else. The First Amendment Praetorians is Mike Flynn's personal paramilitary, and they're the ones that he was with on December 18th when he got an unexpected meeting at the White House where they all planned the fucking insurrection together. So this fucking guy, Brian Gamble, I've never seen in my life. Hopefully, HiFi will show you his haircut, and when you see it, you will understand what he is. He now feels that it is a good idea to come directly to me and send like bigoted memes that are just stupid, like real. So yes.
Yeah, so, nice haircut, dude.
Ryan's a dude on the left, and you recognize the fellow on the right. And I'm here to tell you that is not an accident. Nobody, zero people have ever got that fucking haircut. Right there with the fade and the line and the, I mean, bro. So this fucking Nazi.
Maybe he needs a new barber. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Whatever. Well, he claims that that he has a progressive pink-haired barber who does his hair for him.
Oh, okay.
I don't think
I do want to point out that 420 is also Der Führer's Geburtstag. So
yeah, that. It is, which is a funny time for Elmo to launch a rocket and get rid of everybody's blue check, and oh, haha, it's so funny. It's smoke is about weed, but also Hitler, haha.
No, so when this guy started coming at Jim,
this is insane right now. Yeah. Yes.
When this guy started,
he tried it and it didn't go well for him.
No, it did not. But I started doing some research into him myself, right? And I made some inquiries. And one of the facts I turned up was that he has a jar of Hitler farts next to his bed. that he likes to crack the lid on every night before he goes to sleep, and he takes 3 big breaths of Hitler farts. And I found this out, right? And so what I did was I sent my ninjas to steal it from him, and I actually stole his. It says "Die Furzi die Führer," which I guess is Hitler farts. And Brian Gamble, I've stolen your jar of Hitler farts.
Be careful with that, man. That's historical.
No. What I'm gonna do is Hitler farts. Is I'm gonna put it in a bag. I got his Hitler farts in a jar of Hitler farts in a bag, right? And I got a hammer. No, and I'm. There we go. I've smashed your jar of Hitler farts, Brian.
You better seal that up, man. You better seal that
up. It's tight, dude. It's wrapped up. I've got like 4 bags and an absorbent carbon pad. All the stuff.
All I know is in Bavarian slang, the word for fart is Bumslassen.
Well, he doesn't have the Fuhrer's boom slapping whatever. Not anymore, Brian.
Oh my God!
You're done.
These people are so bad. These people are so bad.
Welcome to the morning zoo edition of Rad 5.
420. Come on, man.
I feel like the only thing missing is like a Peter Thiel moment. Is it just me, or like are we overdue?
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Yes, he is.
You can't do that. I keep telling you this. When you preview the Peter Thiel moment, it ruins the Peter Thiel moment.
Not for me, it doesn't. I think it's hilarious.
No, it's hilarious when you don't know it's coming. When you do, it's hilarious.
Oh my God. I
know. Those are the rules. Coming.
Okay. All right, Jim. Those are the rules. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure that that's like cool. Like, I think we could have like 2 rules. Like, I could like preview it because I think it's funny, and then HiFi can spring it on us because you think it's funny, and then everybody will be happy, and it'll be rainbows and unicorns and turtles all the way down. And
don't both sides Peter Thiel, man.
No.
Yeah, that's like
what about
no. Both siding Peter Thiel is the job of Roger Stone and Eric Prince.
Oh, okay. Hey, High five. Whatever you're smoking, keep smoking it. It's working. It's working. So we had a dope ass episode 65. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit verklempt afterwards because what we are fighting is so insidious, and what we are working hard to expose is so insidious. And we interview podcasters who have the biggest podcast on disinformation and propaganda in the Czech Republic, and they identified cults that are not unlike how QAnon has been used to radicalize people, but these particular operations are employing like the feminist narrative or the feminine narrative of like peace and blah blah, and you can be so mindful, but really the objective is still that Putin is your hero and that climate change is good or whatever. So it's the same shit. And we have a really good clip if you can find it that gives people kind of a summary.
Here I come. You want me to play it?
Jim, did you want to say something beforehand to
is this the background on Alatra?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, this is going to talk more about the sickness of the unreality created by propagandists.
I just wanted to play something that talks about Alatra, that at least giving some basic background.
I don't have one of those.
This particular clip doesn't, but if you want to talk about it afterwards, let's do it. And by the way, I did not hear back from Alatra for the questions that I did send them about whether or not they're psycho cults.
Oh, the Russian cult didn't send you?
They didn't. The Russian cult that,
It's funny how the Russian cultists never answer, really.
It's really funny how like RFK goes on like their shows and stuff. It's like we got issues.
Did he go on Alatra?
Yeah, he's been interviewed by one of their
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah,
All
so
right, anyway.
that's what we're in for. Let's listen. Okay, this is going to be like 4 minutes, so focus, people, please.
Oh.
You guys have seen this for decades, and Americans, in our naivete and in our, one of our lovely qualities is optimism, but our optimism is being exploited against us. Before we get into the ops being run currently in Eastern Europe, can you please wake up Americans to the fact that they are at war and their minds are the battlefield?
That's basically one thing. You Americans, you are terrific. You are good people. I've seen that before in Canada when I lived in Canada. You trust to each other, and that trust, you're not paranoid as us because we grew up during communist regime and with the Russians. And what I can remember when I was a kid, most of our games where we played the World War II. Someone was Russian partisan and someone was German, and then the spies and enemies. And we played that since we learned how to walk and talk. This is what we grew up in, constant war paranoia. They implied their warmongering culture on us. So we know, and actually we not only know, it's a part of our brain. So we are actually sick a little bit and infected a little bit with their way of thinking. It's paranoid. You trust one to another. Canadians, the same. People have no idea. It's even if you take the word the usage of the word misinformation and disinformation. Like disinformation implies a bad intent, like someone's gonna mind fuck your brain. And this is what we used in Europe because we know the Russians. We immediately adopted disinformation. No one knows the word misinformation. Here in America, in Canada, the prevalent term is misinformation because you expect no one can be that bad, right? Why would someone come and tell me lies? So that's the culture. And to destroy this culture of trust, that's their goal.
Right. I think that this is, I would double down on this, right? This is really important because when people ask me when I'm giving speeches like to in different cities in Czech Republic and to schools, etc., people always ask like, what is the goal of Russia? What is the goal of their information operations? So they are not naive. They are not pushing forward the agenda or like propaganda in a sense that Russia is the best. We all know how the life looks like in Russia, right? People don't have flushing toilets basically in most parts of the country. So no one really would want to live there. But so they are not pushing forward topics like that Putin is the best, etc. Although there is a fraction of people who may still believe that, but they are completely brainwashed. But what they are striving for is actually seed sort of a conflict into the society, right? Break the society apart. So any topic, this is important, right? Any topic which can sort of generate sort of heated discussions, disagreements, and polarization, essentially, is valuable. So it can be anything like from culture wars like gender topics, what is the role of women in society and all that stuff. We are a bit behind you, right? So we are still going through certain transformations in terms of feminist movement or whatever. So these are the topics, right? Explanation of history, right? Even like there is still a topic here, like how did the World War II start and end it, as an example, because we've been fed for 40 years that Russian liberated us, but when you look at it from the distance, it was not liberation, it was the new capture, right? They already, agreed with the West that Stalin will take basically everything from Eastern Berlin to the East, including us, right? So you have like these topics.
You guys have seen this for decades. Go ahead and cut it. That's just replaying again. So the new capture is something I've been working with as a phrase because that is what we're in the middle of. We're in the middle of the new capture. And when he said that, when he said we weren't liberated, it was the new capture, I was like, oh my God. And so all this stuff that has been run on people in Eastern Europe and in Russia itself and in Estonia and everywhere else, it's come here. So I'm grateful that we're, optimistic and happy, but it's here. And Jim, you wrote so beautifully about that subject today, the unreality that we're being force fed versus reality, which we're all trying to live in. But part of my despair this week is they just keep picking people off at scale one at a time. And maybe comment on what you wrote today. And then if you want to brief people on a launcher, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I also heard some very nice news today, some good news of people who are able to who are making a difference the other way, and in their own lives and in their own families and friends, sharing work of Heidi's and mine and other people that they're finding helpful. So yes, there's a lot of capture still continuing to happen, which pisses me off every single minute of every single day.
Yeah.
But what I wrote about today was the fact that there really does seem to be kind of darkening of the narrative war, as it were, a kind of cementing of the two sides, where there's no longer really any filter or fear, which is why somebody like Joe Flynn and Brian Gamble feel free to, despite the fact that of their deeply close connection to this fucking traitor who helped plan the insurrection. It doesn't matter. They just do it in public because they don't fucking give a shit. And so my metaphor was I invented narrative tectonics, and the basic idea is that the continents that half of us live on, and the other half live on, have firmed up and are now like butting up against each other, like happens out there by Hawaii and shit, and right under where I live, and anyone who knows geology, when you get two tectonic plates together and the tension builds up for a really long time, or depending on how long it is, what do? You get a fucking earthquake, you get destruction, you get a release of energy. That release has to happen one way or the fucking other, right? And this is why this metaphor is important. We can't stop the release of energy that has to happen when a whole bunch of people figure out, holy fuck, what happened, right? What's going on here? When the reckoning does come, and it has to come.
Yeah.
What's happening now is unnatural. It cannot be sustained forever.
Right.
Unless you build a system around it, in which case we're all fine. So let's not let that.
I wrote.
Go ahead. Let me finish the thought.
Sure.
And then, so the idea is, we don't want to wait for the tension to build up to the point where we're going to have a fucking 10 on the Richter scale, right? Because that's how it works with and I'm just using tectonics obviously as a metaphor. Any system where you build up tension like that, right? Where you take a piece of string and you pull it in the opposite direction long enough, right? Like with enough force, you can pull anything apart, right? And the stronger that thing was to begin with, the more energy gets released when it finally fucking breaks, which is why when an earthquake doesn't happen in the San Andreas for too long, people get fucking worried because they know the longer it goes on, the worse it's going to be. Right. And so that is very much the situation we're in now. is that we've got these two realities, these two tectonic narratives that are rubbing up against each other, and we've got to. For me, it's almost like being an anarchist. I'm just in there, and I said this today. Fuck it, I'm in there with dynamite and jackhammers, and we need to let some of this tension off. Dominion, and I'll land the plane here. Dominion was a tiny little earthquake. It wasn't nothing, but it was a tiny little earthquake right at the border of these two fucking realities, right? It was literally the Fox QAnon reality trying to protect itself from accountability from the rest of us. And they successfully did it, right? So instead of it generating a whole thing and months of publicity and all that shit, they sealed it up with a little thing. So it ended up being a Trump, just a little fucking earthquake. So was it a pre-quake, or was that it? I want to continue to try and trigger as many fucking earthquakes as I can to wake people the fuck up before we get hit with the big one.
Right. So
it's 4:20. So I know that was long.
That was awesome. This is awesome. It's your show, man. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote for my Betty Dangerous Substack, I wrote the new capture, sick a little bit, because we are just like the people she was talking about growing up under Soviet era rule in Czech Republic. We're a bit sick in the head, and we're getting sicker. And so I asked my thousands of readers to please contact Joe Biden and ask him to announce our cognitive warfare and what we're going to do about it. Because they're picking off people one at a time at scale. And yes, the good people in our community are sending our work out. So they're trying to, enlighten people. But so many people are just worried about how they're going to, pay the rent, all of that. I totally get that, how they're going to feed their kids. But nothing will matter if we lose our democracy to these fascists. And I knew it was a foregone conclusion what was going to happen with Fox, and I was underwhelmed. And I did write a script. I was a script writer, I'm a producer for 15 years at a Fox affiliate. So I thought that I would use my skills and write a little script about it, because people were calling me going, what do you think? What do you think? Are you happy? Because they had to write, a big check. I'm like, no, I'm not happy. So instead of answering everybody, I wrote, this just in, fuck Fox News. And I'm just going to read it right now, if you guys don't mind. It's pretty brief, okay?
Yeah.
Ready? All right. This just in, truth loses, liars win, as big fat settlement absolves Rupert of his sins. Insurrections, no problem. Caught on tape, no big deal. As long as he can write a check, anchor hacks can go on lying. Warning, continuing to consume Fox News may result in rotting brains, lower IQs, lonely holidays, and kids who hate you. But hey, at least you'll own the libs. And that's not all. You'll help Russian propagandists earn their annual bonuses. Be sure to tune in tonight for more Kremlin propaganda with your host, Orban's favorite dish, Tucker Carlson. Who will he be reputation washing tonight? Mike Flynn, Eugenie Prigozhin, Beelzebub? Whatever rates in the 18 to 89 demo. And that's how I felt about it. And you know what? I wrote that yesterday. And guess who was on? RFK Jr. doing a Russian propaganda shtick, anti-Ukraine bullshittery, somebody who's still promoting anti-vax bullshittery. How dangerous is he? And I'm very disappointed, because I've met him personally and I quite liked him, and I don't know what the fuck happened to him. So, anyway, that's my poem about how I feel.
Money and compliment. Money and compliment.
Remember that French film from 1961 where the guy opens the safe? So yeah.
No, you whenever you start with, do you remember that French film? You're gonna, just so you know, I don't have a big And
My
I'm guessing with a fairly large percentage of the audience, as soon as you say, remember
not Betty Dangerous readers, because I educate
well,
them
that's
on the
because
French
yes,
way.
but yes, but this is not Betty.
But I just said there is a guy in every community who has a safe filled with all the dirty shit people did for dirty money. And so I don't know what happened, but I can say that do you remember we were talking about this a few weeks ago? Trump was an anti-vaxxer long before he was president. He was spouting that shit, making people not believe their what they see in front of them. And to everybody who has anti-science, anti-vax people in their life, please repeat after me. Do not say to them, you'd look great in an iron lung. I made the mistake of saying that, and I offended somebody who wasn't prepared to hear it. So just don't say that. That's what I said. But I was pissed. They just picked off another one of my friends who was the first to get his vaccine. He was so happy. And now he's watching fucking Rumble and, people telling him, oh, died suddenly. Yeah. So bring me up, guys. Tell me something joyous.
I had fun this weekend dismantling an information operation about my hometown. Would you like to see it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It was pretty fun. Because I got to do some bullshit and I learned some interesting things. So I stumbled upon this by searching the name of my town because I knew that there were going to be protests as there rightly should, because the death of Jalen Walker is an unsolved mystery that needs some accountability. But anyway. Plus, this week, the grand jury didn't indict, the police who were involved.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah. So what I found as I was watching this was I found that there was automated posting. This has a URL in Uganda, right? And this is automated posting, the exact same story, the exact same yada yada, right? So we have automated posting, right? And then, of course, we had a QAnon member who was posting up outside the protest, with the Patriot profile and everything. Cool. And then our idiot or complicit Attorney General, Mr. Yost here, released a PDF that had the names of 4 of the officers involved in the shooting incorrectly redacted in the PDF, so they were released to the press. That was, fucking awesome. And of course, the death threats. Oh, you're going to suscept them to death threats, except they were saying, oh, we're getting death threats like right as or slightly before this occurred. And then we have, I don't even want to go into this guy. I am very unhappy with him. We do have someone who decided to post dissociative content of the murdered body. It is blurred there of Jalen Walker. But no, it was shown in all of its glory. As a matter of fact, a black church leader was posting it as well.
So basically what you're saying is that ops are being run to exploit it, to wedge, as we've been reporting for years. There will be wedging this issue to cause chaos and destabilization, despair, exploiting a horrible event. So, and when you say Uganda, are you saying that this is like a Prigozhin type deal? Like, what is going on there?
Well, what that looks like is it looks like someone used software that automates account.
Okay.
To post the exact same messaging with multiple accounts at the same time, right? And I just happened to catch a couple instances of them. There are a few more if you look for them, but
okay. So let's just cut to it because I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. Just tell us.
Here is the one person in the place who showed up One person showed up with a gun
Mhm.
and garnered over 600,000 views.
Mhm.
He did that.
Mhm.
We identified some accounts in the city of Akron, and there's an attorney who works for one of the most conservative law firms in the country who is rabble rousing, shall we say?
Okay.
Yeah,
But they're trying. They're trying to create chaos.
Slightly in the weeds, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
they're
I
trying to
get into the
create
weeds,
chaos.
but yeah, it's a very obvious information operation. There's players on the ground in Akron. All right, they're amplified online. They're used in certain ways. You can see the whole network branch out. It's really kind of fascinating if you watch it.
Well, in
But
light
yeah,
of the
it's
fact that
coordinated.
in light of the fact that I just wrote about the 4 Americans who were working for the Russians to create this kind of chaos and destabilization to make us all hate each other, it's not surprising that a terrible fucking tragedy would be exploited in this way. And what I want to know is what are we doing in America to protect our heads and our communities from operations being run by domestic traders to fuck us up as well as foreign nationals. I'm glad the Department of Justice went after this operation that I've been reporting on, the Ianov indictment, as well as the Americans who were being paid to create destabilization. But it's just one example. It's happening in all our communities. And what are we doing? Are we just going to let the internet and the bad actors behind it just eat our brains? Like, what are we doing? What are we
No,
doing?
you know, HiFi did his thing. You know, I also do my thing. Pretty soon, we'll be talking about somebody who really needed to be stopped.
Oh, good.
And so it's not. I am only an assistant, but this is going to be good. It's a very despicable person that I
Good.
can't wait. But also, you know, I've been playing with the Flynn family, and paying very close attention to them. And I don't think I mentioned it on the show. Maybe it did. That there was premonition. There was a magical premonition of the leak of classified
Yes.
document of Donbass Devushka. Right before they happened. And two of the notable people that did it were Joe Flynn, the day before. Donbass Devushka leaked stolen, classified, altered documents to Telegram. Joe Flynn promoted her for the first time out of the blue, pro-Wagner tweet. And then the day before that, guess who did? I just found this out a couple days ago. Fucking Alexander Dugin.
Oh.
Suddenly found Alexander Dugin, the #1 propagandist beside maybe Prigozhin, the guy who literally created the Eurasianist philosophy and had his daughter killed and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Fucking Dugin, Putin's brain. That dude magically found Sarah Bills, you know, a fucking Navy veteran who had classified, you know, clearance of her own, suddenly found this chick on Telegram 2 days before she released altered classified stolen documents that had been released by Jack Teixeira. So there is fuckery about.
There's fuckery afoot.
This is not accidental.
No.
Because I have tools and they'd never heard of her, and then suddenly they heard of her right before this happened.
So
And the reason they did that because they wanted attention on her account, and so it leads one to wonder, how in the fuck did Joe Flynn, the guy who emails me all the time and sends people like Brian Gamble with the Hitler haircut at me, why the fuck did he know? Why?
well, you asked him, and he said that she has interesting stuff, right? Wasn't that his
He
response?
said that 9 or 10 different times, yeah. With different numbers of clown emojis. So that changed. He would change the number of clown emojis depending on how nervous he was. If I really made him nervous, it'd be a lot of clown emojis.
Did he?
Moving on.
So it should be noted that he deletes his tweets often. For example, the one where he came at me with the arrest me, that whole thing that I've discussed. Did he delete all these tweets again? Did he try to cover up any potential evidence of this?
Well, yeah, I mean, as soon as I wrote a thread on it, you know, and which kind of, you know, because I was like, hey, Joe, what the fuck's up with this? And of course, he deleted it right away. But I've learned with Joe Flynn that you always take a screenshot of Joe Flynn's tweets, and include them in your response, because otherwise it'll be gone. Whenever he sobers up, you know, for a couple of days.
I just like, I'm really grateful that the Department of Justice is indicting American traitors, but I just wish they'd level up a bit. Like, I wish they'd like go up to the boss level a little bit faster, because rather than just be picking off the low level players who are working for the Russians, why don't we actually indict the people who tried to overthrow our country? Why don't we indict some of the congressional insurrectionists? Why don't we, you know, the January 6th committee laid it out. Like, we saw, you know, Mike Flynn and Sidney Powell and all these people in the White House plotting. So why is it up to us to have to do this week after week? Like, what is going on? I need an answer to that.
Because he's better at psyops than we are.
Okay, I have an answer for you, and this is
that sucks, Jim.
Right. People can only absorb so many points of data, right? And as you see here, there's a ton of points of data, and they just look like a blob of colors, right? But I would urge them to like zoom out, right? And as they zoom out and take a look at the broader network, you start to see what's really going on here. And yeah, we're living in a data point world, and people need to start seeing the bigger picture.
So what that really is an example of weed is good, kids.
Drugs are bad and gay. Anyway.
That was really interesting. Yeah, it is true. People are looking at things so myopically. Like I was saying earlier, they can only take so much. That's why I think it's really important that you continue to post the fact that Mike Flynn said that he was going to go to Washington, you know, with his gun. Didn't lie. The fact that he, you know, did a cultic prayer in a Christian church. The fact that he called for a coup before he actually orchestrated a coup. It's like, when people tell you who they are, believe them the first time. And here we are hearing it the 12th and the 15th and the 18th. And how many more people got to get radicalized by these bad actors who are employees of even worse people?
I mean, why is his fucking brother running 90,000 troops in the goddamn U.S. Army Pacific?
What happened to us? There was a time when we wouldn't have
It's
stood for that.
fucking ridiculous. The dude lied to the Defense Department, the Inspector General, to his face, and blamed it on another guy. Blamed it on the black guy. Blamed it on the head of the DC National Guard. So it was his fault. there's a lot of fuckery, and I'm getting very concerned that this guy's successfully getting himself off the hook again. He confessed to lying to the FBI about communicating the Russian fucking government during the transition.
Right.
That's a bad thing. You're not supposed to do it. And so they caught him, and he got fired even by Trump. And he got fucking fired, and he got himself out of it. How did he get himself out of it?
Sidney Powell.
With fucking QAnon.
Oh, yeah.
He started a defense fund in September of 2017, and magically in October 2017, LARP on 4chan started saying all kinds of friendly Flynn cult QAnon shit. And then within a few weeks, he was raising money from it. And what happened? He hired Sidney fucking Powell, who got him out of his confession to lying about the motherfucking Russian government, because William Barr made that happen, and then Donald Trump pardoned his ass. He's guilty as fuck and has been forever. And he's been committing goddamn crimes ever since his pardon, which means he's not pardoned for those. So somebody pick his fucking ass up and put him in prison. And the people who need to do that are the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Army, because you motherfuckers need to reactivate, recall, and court-martial Michael T. fucking Flynn.
And General Paul Eaton said the exact same thing. For anybody who wants to hear it from somebody, you hear it from Jim every week, but just know that a retired general, Paul Eaton.
I used to make video games. Well, but I used to make video games, so you should listen to me. Yeah, don't listen to me. Listen to Paul Eaton.
Just FYI, HiFi, who had a stint in the Marines, said he would be more than happy to be called back up to active duty in order to help facilitate that. But I also want to say,
I would.
Jim, your life would be so much easier to not be under siege by all of Mike Flynn's shitty digital soldiers if you just decided to not do this anymore. Why do you care so much about the fact that, I know that something you helped create was co-opted and used for nefarious radicalization purposes, but why do you care so much 3 years into this fight?
Because it's just gotten worse, and the reason I got into it was because I saw a lethal threat to my family and my nation. It's that simple. I was like, there's a death cult. Hold up. There's a death cult on Twitter. What the fuck? Right? That was my reaction as a normal human being. Which is like, what the fucking fuck? And also, I happen to know what they were doing because they were stealing some of my shit. So I felt a responsibility. But mostly, it was like, what the fucking fuck? There's a death cult right there. Why are we doing something about that? Because that is going to turn violent. That is going to turn into a pro-Putin fucking fifth column. And lo and behold, what the fuck did it do? And it's going to get worse because the people running the show want all of us fucking dead. The people who give a shit, if they win, we're the first to go.
I'm aware of that.
It is, and I don't mean to be dramatic. I'm not like that. I'm not trying to,
For everybody who doesn't know, we received death threats. Let's just tell it like it is. We received death threats for doing this work. I don't appreciate that.
Yes, but I'm not interested in that part of it right now. What I care about is the lethal threat to my grandchildren's future and my country. I'm not worried about them coming to fucking hurt me. Like if they want to put a bullet in my head, they can do that anytime they want. I'm available. I'm right here. But other than that, they can't. They're not going to stop. So all I'm saying is, like, the reason I keep doing it is because I keep telling you they are trying to destroy our nation and the future of our children, and I am not going to fucking sit around while that happens. I can't.
Me
I'm not.
neither.
It's not in my. It's not in my way. It's also very selfish. I want to grow up with my grandkids. I want to see them grow up. I'm not interested in whatever Gilead bullshit they have planned.
Me neither. I'm with you, Jim. HiFi.
Well, I would just like to point out that, yeah, it's the future of our nation, but if you look around the planet, it's the future of a whole bunch of other nations as well.
We're talking the whole ball game. There's the whole ball game.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
And we lucky few just happen to be on the front lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Speaking of people on the front lines, we're going to be interviewing Michael McKay on this weekend, and I'm very excited about that because I think it's very important that we continue to always let people know what's happening in Ukraine, keep people updated, and where we can help, and who better than that brilliant guy. So I'm very excited that he's coming back.
I think
100 emoji.
What's that?
I think, go ahead, Jim.
I just said 100 emoji. That was.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'll do the heart emoji. You know.
I think people need to understand that what is going on in Ukraine right now is the kinetic part of this global war that has encompassed all of us.
Yeah.
Right? We are just facing the hybrid cognitive warfare part of it because they can't afford to, ship tanks over here and shoot bullets at us. Now, who can't? Well, China, Saudi Arabia. Anyway, not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But people in Ukraine are dying for us.
Mm-hmm. That's on the real, man.
We owe them a debt.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind.
You're goddamn right. I mean, they suffered a lot of fucking bullshit because they've been living next to this imperialist leftover fucking bullshit that needs to be stamped out. I'm fucking sick of this Bolshevik big barrel-headed chested fucking bullshit. Cut it out, guys. There's so much beauty in that country, still. And it's not the people, it's the goddamn propaganda and what they're doing to the Russians. They're trying to do to us here, and what they've been doing to Ukraine.
Yeah,
that's how they prepare the ground for kinetic warfare, is with psychological warfare.
That's right. So I think that was that's our hour, and I'm really glad that everybody was here. And
on that uplifting note,
and let's do a little uplifting note. Hey, this is fine. On an uplifting note, we are growing our numbers. Thank you, everybody. And, just don't be part of the silent. Don't bury your heads in the sand. Acknowledge that we are a target nation of cognitive warfare, and everybody needs to be aware and fighting back with us. So
silence is violence. He doesn't have a voice because he doesn't have a mouth. So.
So I guess it's not fine. Everything's not fine.
Yeah, no, even it's all a big fraud. He's a fraud.
I think that's our show.
Bye.
No, I got one final thing I gotta say.
Oh no, it's not a bumps lesson, is it?
I just have to celebrate.
All right. Hi.
Hi,
Hi, Dan.